Hi. I don't know how to introduce this because the last thing that I was doing was January and it's no longer January. So basically, I've been making music after a long hiatus, a long period of not making music, and I wanted to continue to do it. I had a little bit of time off, and now I'm getting back into it after doing like whatever 35 tracks for January. I wanted to have a bit of a breather and get back into it, but I didn't know how. So I've decided to do something more ridiculous than doing a track every day for the month of January. I decided that I am going to make an album in 7 hours. So that's a dumb idea. But in this video, I wanted to break down and kind of think out loud a little bit about how I'm going to do it. Because there's obviously some ways that I could really do it terribly. So I thought a little bit of planning to figure out how. So that's what I'm doing in this video. So I just have good old pen and paper. Hopefully you can see it. I'll try and write big. I just tested on the camera to see if you could read the writing. So I think I'm going to write bigger. But obviously making an album in 7 hours is pretty ambitious. So I think I'm going to have to come up with some constraints around it. Here's what I was thinking. And I am thinking out loud here. Bear that in mind. So I'm thinking an album has to have, what's the minimum amount of tracks for it to be considered an album? I would say 5. Now, a lot of you may be screaming at your screens now. I'm just going to type it in. I don't actually know how many tracks to be an album. A standard album is 9 to 12 songs. Okay, so 8 plus to be not considered. A release is considered an album rather than an EP if it has at least 7 to 8 tracks or exceeds 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so it seems to vary. So let's split the difference. Let's say 7. So it's not 5. 7 tracks. And it needs to exceed, it says, or it needs to exceed 25 to 30 minutes. So let's do 7. Let's make this as big as possible. 2 lines. 7 tracks. Okay. It needs to be 25 plus minutes. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. Let's make that a clear 7. So 7 tracks, 25 minutes. Now I'm thinking like workflow wise, how do I do it so that I'm not wasting a bunch of time. So if I'm going to make it in 7 hours, the reason why I'm considering 7 hours is because I technically have a day off tomorrow. So I thought 7 hours is a work day. So that's why. So I'm thinking if it's 7 tracks in 7 hours, it can't be an hour a track. Otherwise I'm going to have no time left. So each track, I'm going to spend 45 minutes making. 45 mins per track. Okay, so that will be what will that be? So 7, 3.5 hours. Okay, so there's 3.5 hours creating, and then that gives 3.5 hours to, like, I guess, arrange and stuff. So maybe I have 1 hour at the start to just noodle, to just come up with ideas, literally just be like generating ideas. 1 hour noodling / ideas, and then that leaves 2.5 hours. So then 1.5 hours mixing, 1 hour polishing. So that can just be extra bits and pieces. Okay, so that feels doable. I think this is a good general idea. So let's break it down then into workflow. So the first hour number 1, is ideas. I'm thinking if I record for an hour, what's the quickest way of doing it? This is very ambitious. If I'm noodling for an hour, every time I have a good idea, I need to figure out a way to just mark it. So I'm just like, oh, I like that, come back to it. So I need to just be able to be like, mark, but then move on. Because then what I can do is I can just have a bunch of ideas that just sort of generate out. And then I've got like an hour long track that I can just come back to and then go, okay, this is going to be an idea. There's going to be an idea. Won't do any work on it, but at least I can just go through the ideas. Maybe I should account for that. Okay. So instead of 1.5 hours mixing, I have an idea for mixing. I'm going to do 0.5 hours for mixing. And I'm going to do 1 hour organize ideas. Okay. So 1 hour of ideas. So all I'm going to do is turn on Ableton. Sorry, I should be writing this bigger. Turn on Ableton, plug in guitar and move. So I'm going to be using the Ableton Move. And then just record audio, adding markers. So I'm just, as I go, I'm going, but whatever the button is to add a marker, that's what I'm going to do. So I can just be like, oh, that's a good idea. And then I just have the audio for it. So that's hour 1. Hour 2, I'm just going to write down org. So this is where I go through those ideas and I split them off into separate ideas. Okay, go through markers, rank by quality, I guess. So this way, 2 hours in, by the end of 2 hours, I will have a bunch of ideas, and then I'm going to kind of, I guess, group by genre, I guess. I'm going to try and keep it guitar-ish based, and then maybe I'll select, for the ideas, maybe I'll select just a drum, like a live drum kit. So at least I've got like, okay, I've got live guitar, I've got a real sounding drum kit. It's going to be like rock guitar-ish kind of based. So I'm not going wildly off. I'm actually constraining myself. So group by genre / style. So just ones that fit together. So for the ideas, I'm just going to go back and going to do live drum kit guitar based and do it that way. Okay. This is going to be nuts. And then I've got 45 minutes per track. That's going to be difficult. So what I need to do for numbers 3, I guess I'll split this into separate videos because a 7-hour video is not going to work. So 3 to 9, what I need to do is I need to make a template set in Ableton that has a drum kit, a bass, like a live electric bass or acoustic bass, maybe depending on the sort of style, maybe a set of keys, a space for the guitar, because it will probably be based around guitar. I'm not going to have any vocals in it, or if I do, it's not going to be like lyrics. It maybe just be like harmonies or something like that. I don't know, but I'm not like writing lyrics in this time, that's for sure. So I'm going to make a template set that I can go, okay, new track, take the idea that, or the ideas that I want to work on, and I can just drop them in and then immediately start on like drums and bass and all that sort of stuff straight away. So for 3 to 9, I need to make a template set. So drum, bass, elect, drum, bass, a track for the idea 1 and maybe a second idea that I'm importing, idea 2. And then a re-recorded guitar, because I'll probably have to re-record some guitar parts. So guitar 1, guitar 2, and then extra. So yeah, I'm gonna have some setup. That is something that I need to do, is I need to set this up beforehand before I actually do the recording stuff, because spending an hour doing this shouldn't count. So there'll be a setup. So for videos 3 to 9, for tracks 1 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I need to have a template set already done. And then obviously 45 minutes, it needs to have at least an intro. It needs to have a verse, and it needs to have a chorus or a hook. So it needs to be 7 tracks or 25 minutes. Because 7 tracks and 25 minutes would mean that each track would have to be like 3.5 minutes long. And so screw it. We're going to do 7 tracks. I'd rather have 7 tracks that get in, get out than tracks that are just bloated, I guess. So 7 tracks. All right. So each track needs to have at least an intro, verse, chorus, and a hook. Each track also needs to have, each set, I guess. Each track needs to have at least 4 tracks. At least 4 tracks. And then video 10 is going to be the polish. So one of the things for polish is basically anything that just sticks out, like that's out of time or out of tune, where I'm like, okay, this actually just, I need to spend more time on it to get it to not sound shit. I just want an extra hour buffer for that. Note timing or tuning or arranging, I guess. Then the last one is going to be mixing. So the reason why I'm doing so little time on mixing, where everyone's going to be like, that's ridiculous, that doesn't make any sense, is because I hate mixing. I hate mixing. Mixing is the reason why I got so frustrated with making music in the first place, because it's just, my mind just goes numb. So the mixing side of things, I picked up a plugin called Finalist, which is basically, it's not AI, but it is a kind of an auto mixing software by a guy called Tim Exile. And you just basically import your stems in, and it has like a bunch of different kind of presets, and it figures out like just a solid mix. None of them are like, wow, this is professionally mixed, but it does like 80% of the job, which is for me like fine. And you can do a bunch of tweaking and stuff if need be. So that will reduce the mixing time like way down. So I'm just gonna use Finalist to mix. Rendering time is not going to count for any of this stuff, because you never know how good the computer's going to be on the day. So that is going to be 11. And then I guess video 12 is going to be final presentation. And that is going to be track list, titles, I guess artwork, and release. I'm just going to release it. I think that's going to be it. So I think this is going to be like 12 videos, but with a total of 7 hours. My attempt is going to be to do it all in one go. That's what I'm going to attempt. If not, I might split it into 2 chunks. I don't know. I'm not going to hold myself to it because it's not that serious, but I'm going to try and do it all in one go and see how it turns out. I don't know how often I'll release the videos. It won't be day after day because that will be too much work for me. So I'm not going to do like a video per day like I have done. So I think I'll release a video just when I can. Once I've recorded it, I probably will just not edit it and just put it up as it is. That's what I think I'm going to do. Minimal edits. So I'll just release a video of just like, first video is going to be the idea generation. Second video is going to be organizing, going through which ones that I like, which ones I'm going to scrap, grouping them together as best I can. And then videos 3 to 9 is going to be making the tracks. Maybe I'll do a video just showing how I made the template set. Then there'll be a video for polishing. Then there's going to be a video for mixing. Then there's going to be a video for the final presentation. So that is going to be like 12 videos, but the actual work time will roughly add up to 7 hours. So that's my idea. That's my planning. I guess this will be video 1. Let me know your thoughts, everyone. Let me know what you think of this as an idea. And I guess over the next few weeks, follow along to see how it goes and what comes out of it. I'm just as interested as you. Cool. Thanks for joining me. I will speak to you very, very soon. See you in the next video.